Picture a 16-year-old boy. He's putting on his armor, lifting his weapons, and walking out onto the most dangerous battlefield of the ancient world. He is doing it all alone. It is the 13th day of the Kurukshetra war. The Pandava army is exhausted. Their lines are stretched thin, and they are buckling under a coordinated enemy offensive that threatens to wipe them out. This diagram shows the Chakravyuha, a multi-tiered, wheel-shaped defensive labyrinth. Notice the rings, composed of soldiers moving continuously in opposite directions. If a warrior breaks the outer layer, the maze shifts, closing the gap. It constricts inward, systematically isolating and swallowing attackers. Surviving inside that shifting machine isn't a matter of brute strength. It requires highly specific, almost divine tactical knowledge, the kind of knowledge traditional military training simply doesn't cover. On this day, the Pandavas face a crisis. The only two warriors on their side who know how to decode the Chakravyuha, Arjuna and Krishna, have been deliberately lured away to a distant front. If the Pandavas cannot break the formation before sunset, their entire army will be routed. The war will be over. That is when Abhimanyu steps forward. He is Arjuna's teenage son, and looking at a war tent full of demoralized generals, he volunteers to lead the vanguard assault. But there is a gap in his tactical knowledge. Abhimanyu memorized the exact sequence to pierce the labyrinth's layers when he was still in his mother's womb. He never learned the sequence to get out. He knows the danger, so he takes a calculated risk. His plan relies on his 4 uncles and the main bulk of the Pandava army tailing him. As he breaches each layer, they are supposed to follow, holding the breach open. Abhimanyu is not making a reckless mistake. He is consciously trading his own safety to prevent the slaughter of his family's forces. The assault begins with incredible force. Abhimanyu hits the outer perimeter, shattering the enemy front line, carving a hole into the formation and unleashing chaos inside. But almost instantly, his backup plan fails. The rest of the Pandava army tries to pour into the opening he created, but they hit a solid wall. They are physically blocked from moving forward. This chart shows how one man creates a bottleneck. That single block represents King Jayadratha, holding off the entire Pandava army with a temporary divine boon. Because they are stalled, the gap snaps shut. The door closes behind the boy. Look at the geometry now. Abhimanyu is isolated. He is no longer executing a vanguard rescue mission. He is an individual inside a machine built to execute him. Trapped inside, the teenager fights with such ferocity that he dominates the interior rings. In response, the Kaurava army resorts to a different level of violence to put him down. The sacred rules of combat demand one-on-one matches between equals. But 7 elite veteran commanders abandon those codes. They surround him, deciding to attack simultaneously. What follows is a systematic, illegal dismantling of a soldier. They shoot him from behind. They shatter his bow. They kill his horses and destroy his chariot, leaving him grounded and bleeding. Disarmed and exhausted, Abhimanyu refuses to yield. In a final act of defiance, he grabs the nearest heavy object he can find and hoists a massive splintered chariot wheel above his head to defend himself. A broken piece of wood is no match for 7 heavily armed generals. The fight is stacked against him, and moments later, Abhimanyu is killed. The Kauravas secured a tactical victory for the day, but the cost was the final erosion of the codes of honor that governed the war. The day ends, and the battlefield goes quiet. When Arjuna and Krishna return to the Pandava camp at sunset, they are met with a suffocating, eerie silence. It is in that dark tent that Arjuna learns the truth. He realizes his teenage son was trapped and killed by 7 of the most revered veterans of their time. This betrayal of combat honor forces a shift in Arjuna. The silence of his grief gives way to a calculated, terrifying focus. He takes a vow that changes the stakes of the entire conflict. Arjuna swears that he will hunt down King Jayadratha, the man who blocked the door, and kill him before the sun sets tomorrow. The conditions of this vow are absolute. If Arjuna fails to kill Jayadratha by dusk, he promises to step onto a flaming pyre and burn himself alive. If he dies, the Pandavas lose their greatest warrior, and the war is effectively over. Abhimanyu's death turned a war of honor into a war of annihilation,